Major budget cuts announced last evening as the nation's chief stated that the country is in a new era of financial discipline. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings.
I'm Kish Latterly. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. The Prime Minister delivering an address to the nation last night, noting that there will be a 10% cut in all ministry budgets, no new hiring, and no contract renewals for salaries of more than $100,000.
Now, these moves and other austerity measures coincided with the theme of the Prime Minister's national address, resetting the national course with a new era of reform and transformation.
At the outset, Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Hubert Minnis made it clear that his party is grateful to the people of the Bahamas for their confidence in overwhelmingly giving them the mandate to govern the country's affairs for the next 5 years. The Prime Minister said in his national address Wednesday night that it is time to reset our national course with a new era of reform and transformation. With that in mind, the Prime Minister admitted that he is not going to sugarcoat the medicine that his government will take to restore our fiscal good health.
One measure I announced this evening is that all government ministries will have expenditure cut by 10%. There will be no new public sector hiring at this time. We must get our financial house in order. We must reverse the arc of government deficit and debt. We will appoint a special committee to advise on state-owned enterprises with a view of reducing the burden of such enterprises on public finances. There will be no renewal of contracts for emoluments which exceed $100,000 per year. To further reduce expenditure, we will reduce the number of government vehicles. Unlike the former head of government, I will be extraordinarily more vigilant in ensuring that my ministers adhere to their budgets and to financial constraints. The former administration was addicted to luxury travel, often spending extraordinary sums of money on delegations traveling the world at great expense. We will reduce the amount of money spent on foreign travel by government officials. We will implement changes to prevent fiscal mismanagement. There are forensic audits being conducted to recover, where possible, the people's money. We are identifying loopholes so as to avoid repeating corrupt practices.
And speaking of corruption, the Prime Minister stated that he will not comment specifically on cases concerning alleged bribery and corrupt practices by public officials. But he did reiterate that individuals should be treated equally before the law.
If judicial or police officials do not have the requisite paperwork necessary to charge any citizen, regardless of standing in the country, that individual should not be charged until the appropriate time. If all people deserve to be treated equally before the law, I find it disturbing that some people believe that politicians in the Bahamas should be above the law and should not be held accountable for misfeasance or misdeeds while in office.
Then there's tourism. Prime Minister Minnis clarified that his government is not in the business of owning hotel businesses for any extended period of time. He also touted his recent visits to the Atlantis Paradise Island and Bahama resorts, pointing out that it is most important to our economy that both of these mega resorts succeed. Prime Minister Minnis also acknowledged addressing the needs of the more than 250 smaller and licensed properties in Nassau, Paradise Island, Grand Bahama, and our family islands.
We now know that at least 65% of the economic activity and more than 50% of the jobs of the Bahamas are derived from the tourism sector. We also know that only 60% of our hotel and resort rooms are occupied annually. We must focus on tourism initiatives to get our economy going again while not excluding the urgent need for diversification within the tourism sector and in other sectors and potential areas of growth. If we manage to achieve near 80% occupancy in our hotels on a year-round basis, we will increase our economic activity and jobs from tourism by 1/3. This will cause a considerable dent in the unemployment problem facing our country.